Ncumisa, how are you?
I'm good, Rory. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Ncumisa, I'll be your host for today. My name is Rorisang Hlahatsi-Baloyi. Welcome to the IT Global Direction. Ncumisa, please tell us who are you, where are you in the world, and what's the hot topic for today?
Thank you so much. I think firstly, thank you so much, Rorisang, for having me on the platform today. It's such an amazing platform, and I've learned a lot from the people that have been here before me. So my name is Ncumisa Hlapo. I am a senior manager in data and analytics within healthcare. I am in South Africa. And the topic for today is data, right?
Awesome. What is data, Ncumisa? Like I've been hearing a lot across the world where people are like, data. What is this data?
Data, there are so many descriptions for it, but I think let me give the more precise description for it. Data is a collection of discrete values that convey information. So that information can describe events that happened in the past, that are currently happening, or it's basically a collection of values that, when collected and organized together, can tell us something about something. You decide what that something is.
Yeah. And why is it so important? Because we even seeing a lot of people saying, oh, we need data people, it's a scarce skill. Why is it so important?
Sure. For so many reasons, right? Firstly, it's data is coming up as important now, and I'll tell you why. Data has always been very important and has
Mm,
always been very key to a lot of groundbreaking and important innovations, just generally from the
mm,
past. I mean, from the beginning of the collection of the first character. If you
mm,
think about it, when people were living in the caves and they recorded happenings in the caves by drawing, you know how we see in
mm,
history where people would draw, that is data. They were capturing an event at a time, they were telling a story. So data
mm,
was critical back then for them to be able to live and to be able to learn from their lived experiences and be able to improve or avoid danger, or just be able to exist within the context that they were living in back then. I mean, this is back
mm.
in cave times. Now, fast forward to today, right? I know within data, you also hear a lot about data science. Now, if you think about it, data science is coming up as a buzzword now. But if you think about it in terms of in healthcare only, the first people that did neurosurgeons that did brain surgery, they needed
Yeah.
to study data to understand the brain, to understand previous operations in order for them to improve on it, right? So that's fast
Mm,
forwarding a little bit forward. Now, if you look at our current world, we live in the World Wide Web. Everything that we do is on the internet. And
yeah.
in order for everything that we are doing on the internet to even function from the beginning, for a program to run, there has to be data that we feed to it. There
Yeah.
has to be values that we pass. So data is that critical. It's part of everything that we do. We live in smart houses where you tell your TV what to do. You don't have to press a button anymore. You speak and it recognizes. That requires data to do that, right?
Mm,
We live in a world where you can put someone in ICU and the machinery will be able to run on its own. That machinery needs data in order for it to
mm,
be perform that important function. So I think to answer your question, why is data important?
mm,
Data is important because those little elements that when you look at it individually, it seems so irrelevant and so
yeah.
insignificant. But it's the fuel and the oil of a lot of things that we do in today's world, in medicine, in banking, in healthcare, even in what we're doing for you and I, what we are doing here right now. We need data in order for us to be able to perform this function in different parts of the world.
So you mentioned some very critical points, and I think they're all valid due to the experience that I've seen also across the world. And Melissa, can you please explain to us how is now data enabling the future of information technology or the future of IT? How do you see data being part and parcel of the decisions that need to be made in order to plan the future of information technology?
Sure. I think It is so important because, first of all, the world is evolving. As people, we are evolving as well, right? And we are evolving mainly because of technology, if you think about it. Tech is at the center of the change that we see between today and 10 years ago. If someone asked you what's the difference between today and 10 years ago, it would be technology centered, right? And the reason data then becomes important is, especially if you look at it from, I'm going to look at it from the context of organizations. Let's say you are running a business. In order for you to know something as basic as which technology do you need to invest in order for you to be relevant, to be efficient, in order for you to meet your customers' needs, in order for you to be ahead of the curve and avoid being a Nokia or avoid being a Kodak, where you were not able to move with the times, or to avoid being a BlackBerry. These are examples that come all the time when we talk about technology that did not evolve. As a result, those companies cease to exist today. So in order for you to know what step to take forward, you need to engage with data. Data needs to tell you, this is what's happening in the organization, this is what's happening in the industry, this is what's happening in your with people in general, and this is how all of these things come together to when these things come together, they tell us that this is the decision that you need to make. For an example, in data and analytics, we have what you call descriptive analytics. They tell you what is happening today, right now. Someone is buying bread, someone is buying a blouse, someone is buying something. That's descriptive. It's telling you what is happening today, or what happened yesterday, or what happened last year. Last year, people bought 10 blouses. Today, they bought 5, right? Now, you have what you call prescriptive analytics, right? That tells you this is what you should do, right? In line with your business objectives. You should do this in order for you to meet your objectives. So this, I'm trying to highlight why it's critical. Data is critical in everything that we do, right? Because this then informs the decisions around the technology that we need as an organization. If we're saying that there's an influx of people that are buying online, as opposed to people that are buying in our brick and mortar stores, what does that tell us? We need to beef up our e-commerce platforms to make sure that we can meet the volumes. So data becomes very critical because it's part of the decisions that you make. You no longer make decisions based on intuition because you have 30 years of leadership in that industry. It does not work that way anymore. You need to engage with the data for it to be the one to tell you what to do. And then also, most importantly, in today's world, data is so important because in order for us to even engage with groundbreaking technologies such as artificial intelligence, we need data. And if you think about artificial intelligence, it's efficiency, it saves us time, it saves lives, you name it, it's saving us in terms of fraud detection in the financial services industry. There's so many critical problems that artificial intelligence has been able to solve in industry. But in order for us to be able to even engage at that level, we need data to feed the AI, and we need data to tell us which direction should we go into in terms of AI. So I'd say data is important with technology because it drives the direction we should go, and it informs what we need to do from a tech perspective instead of just wasting investment. And it's also very critical because everything that we do should be informed by what the data is telling us about our surroundings.
Ncumisa, I love your passion for data, and I fully understand why you are a leader in this topic. So Ncumisa, if you were to speak to a younger person who's interested in joining this data evolution, what would you recommend? What should they do to prepare themselves to be data experts and be ready for the industry that you're part of?
Sure. When I answer this question, I always wish I could say to them, go and learn this. I feel like it was easier back in our day when we were like studying and coming up because you knew, let me go and study, software development, and I will break into this field. So when you look at data today, we've got big data in volumes that we never imagined were possible 10 years ago when I started in data, for example. So what I would say to a young person is that the data and analytics space is fast evolving all the time. What you know today may not be relevant in a year's time or 2 years' time. Like, it is that fast, right? And the reason it is so fast, it is because it is driving so much innovation. So we have to catch up and stay abreast of the innovation, because with innovation, you have to come up with new ways of analyzing and deriving insights from the new innovations. So
Yes.
the one key element that I would say to a young person coming into this space is that you need to fall in love with continuously
Learning.
improving yourself and learning. Because the skills, I can tell you what skills you need to go and learn today. Go and learn SQL, Python, data visualization, cloud computing. I can list all of these things, and all of this information is freely available online. But the most important and critical skill and ability that you need to have is the ability to adapt and evolve yourself. Because if I look at just my career over the past 11 years, geez, the things that I thought, that made me maybe take a step forward 3 years ago are so irrelevant now. In order to take another step forward, I need to sort of adapt and learn other things and get new certifications. So I'd say to a young person, obviously you need to get a tech-related degree or diploma or qualification. In fact, we've got people in data and analytics that did law, that majored in English, that had nothing to do with mathematics or statistics or all of those things.
Yeah.
That's how adaptive it is. What's important is that they came into the field as it is today. They learned what is required today, committed, built up their skill, and they are continuously evolving themselves. And the fact that they did a qualification that is not related to math or tech is so irrelevant because of how evolving it is. So I think the one thing that I would say is that come into the field hungry to learn something new every day and stay abreast of what is happening in the field and continuously develop yourself.
Wow, Ncumisa, I can feel your passion. I'm converted. Probably by tomorrow I'll be joining the data industry as well. Ncumisa, thank you so much for joining IT Global Direction. I'll try and sum up for our viewers. You mentioned some critical points that I think myself as well as the viewers can take away. You mentioned that data is not a new thing. Data has been there for some time. It's just that it's gaining the focus now because of the latest and greatest technologies that were adopted, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. You also mentioned that data is not only focusing on IT, but you actually studying other industries like the medical industry, like the retail industries, where you're using data to better understand or to better market yourself out there. You also mentioned some critical points that we can't now talk about you need to go and study this, you need to go and do that, but you need to learn continuously and try and adapt and make sure that you keep up with what is in the industry today. Ncumisa, please tell me if I missed out anything. The level of passion you have about data, I fully understand why you're a leader in this industry.
No, I think you've captured everything so beautifully, Rorisang, and thank you so much for that. If I were to add anything else, we'll sleep here talking about data.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining the IT Global Direction podcast. Have a great day.
Thank you, Rorisang. Bye.